And we are live. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Episode Club. And today we are going to be talking about Cursed, but it's a little change of plans. We have TopShelf Fandom here today. How you doing?
Not bad. How are you, Mackenzie?
I'm doing quite well today. So this was supposed to be talking about the last two episodes, but we're gonna talk to Justin about this great show. So introduce yourself if anybody happens to not know who you are.
Well, thank you for having me on. And it was a little bit last minute, but I'd like to say that I'm always happy to be here amongst your side. And congratulations on graduating from college. We have a learned, wonderful woman upon us right now and doing an excellent job with your channel. Now, I am here more so, in full disclosure, everybody, on the spot to ask Mackenzie why I should watch Curse, because this is an Arthurian tale retold, and that's about all I know from it. It has a few of my favorite actors and actresses in it. And pitch me. This is pitch meeting.
So this is a more of, we've talked about this previously on the show, but it is more of a, if you're looking for on Netflix for a show that's like The Last Kingdom, a little bit of Vikings, because there is Vikings in here, a bit of Vikings, a bit of The Witcher, but you want it less. There's moments of graphicness, but if you're looking for that style of show, if from a property like Netflix, it's in that realm. But of course, it's the take on. It's not primarily focused on Arthur. It's not primarily focused on, as at the end of this episode 10, Lancelot's reveal. It's more focused on Nimue, who's represented as the Lady of the Lake, and her story and how she's interconnecting with all of the men that are known within Arthurian lore, and focused on pretty much more of the feminine side of that.
Now, this is a subverted story from the get-go, right? Like, because there is a tale that puts the Lady of the Lake. I know the Arthurian tale, the Lady of the Lake, correct me if I'm wrong, people, this is me on the spot, short notice, but this is, she threw a bunch of armor and swords of warriors into the lake, and people would drudge them up and so forth. And there is a subversion of the Arthurian tales from the female perspective, right?
Yeah, because the story begins, at least in the show, like the first episode revolves around her and her character and how she is a chosen person because she's part of the Fae, and basically her whole mission as the beginning of the final episode is to find Merlin and deliver the sword to Merlin, which is the catalyst of the entire series. And along the way, she obviously meets Arthur and a few other Hastily characters, as well as the presumably big bad, which is the Red Paladin, led by Peter Mullen, who both you and I know as James, most famously known for within the Song of Ice and Fire / what we kind of do community as James Delos. So
yeah, Train Spotting. This has a lot of big names in it, right?
Yeah.
Now, the reviews on this have been quite all over the place. I would say at first I heard negative things, but I really like the people that are involved with this, and I like the spin on it. So again, you're here to kind of pitch me, not because I'm not going to watch it or I'm too good for it or anything, but like, this is kind of what YouTube is, right? Like, at the same time, like, we want to convince people like why we can like squeeze more enjoyment out of a sponge, why we can take something that we enjoy in this terrible time and squeeze more out of it. So say Camelot. Did you watch that series on Stars? You're aware of it?
Yes.
So there is a failed Arthurian tale in contemporary times, but this seems to have a lot more star power with it, and it definitely seems to have a different spin on it. And would this be a more subverted tale? Would this be like, should I expect a very feminist view or a woke view, as people would say, which I don't like using, but I'm playing devil's advocate, everybody.
It's more it's primarily focused on a lot. It's very, although there is graphicsness, it's very much a teen-ish show where it's meant for more or less, I would say it's more skewed to the feminine demographic. So there's a lot of female empowerment. There is that sort of developing trope within like the later half of the episodes, especially within the last episode, about who more or less is going to be the romantic partner moving forward. Like online, there's a lot about who should be the one that the main character ends up with. It's kind of, I would say, based off of what I know about previous other stories, it's more of like the women focused. I feel like you might enjoy it because of the shows that you and I have talked about before. So it's from my opinion, like, I enjoy it. Like, some of the scenes are like a little bit like, you can tell that they are not as like what we're used to per se, in terms of like the set design and graphics style, but it's pretty okay in my opinion.
So this also has the lead Medici of the last series actor in it as
Yes,
well.
Daniel
That played,
Sharman. Yes, he plays
yes, and
the main
he.
one of the main antagonists of the show. Yeah.
Oh, good, because actually, if you've watched Last Medici, he is a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
He's a very good actor and very strong. So, when I look at this, you have Gustav Skarsgård. You have a number of other people that are involved in the show. We have an Arthurian tale, in which all of our, mythological and fae stories are essentially in some way or another tied to, because Arthurian was tied to the Norse to the Arthurian, and so forth. So, when I hear about the show and I hear about Gustav Skarsgård, I hear about all of these actors I know, but also I see mixed reviews and I see stuff like this. Like, if you had to pitch me, and don't compare it to Game of Thrones or anything, but what is the dynamic of this show that works, and what is the dynamic that would fail for me? Meaning, like because they got good actors. So if it's not good, it's because the writing's bad. Because these actors have standed the test of time.
So they have predominantly, like, I would say at least 2/3 of the cast is people who have established resumes. You have Katherine Langford, who's best known on Netflix for her part in 13 Reasons Why. You have Daniel Sharman, who's been involved in multiple TV series. You have Peter Mullen. You have Gustav Skarsgård, among others. And I can't remember exactly who some of the other the main actors are, but they are pretty well known. In terms of the writing style, it skews, it's like Netflix, where with a lot of Netflix properties, they can't use a lot of vulgar language. So, and because of the rating, you can't say certain words, or you are limited to certain things like that. In terms
Seems
of,
like they wouldn't be. It seems like,
well, it's a young adult book that's been adapted for TV, which was also written by Thomas Wheeler, who is a father. So it was more or less a story for his daughter, because his daughter enjoyed a bunch of this type of genre, but of course was too young. I think she's 16. So it's along those lines of, I would say it's more of an introduction to the types of shows that we watch for the younger audience. So, if you're wanting to watch other shows that we all enjoy, it's more or less of, start with this show. So, start with this and move forward, because I think there's not that much graphic content. The scenes where they emphasize on the graphic nature are for the purpose of continuing on the story. So there's scenes where basically she uses the power of the hidden, which basically means that she goes focuses her power into the ground, and she basically entangles a bunch of people into trees, and you see the after effects of that. So the use of the graphic nature is intended to show the severity of what happens within the backstory and the current.
Well, this is a primordial water situation, right? Because the Lady of the Lake, from my understanding from Arthurian tales, is essentially, this is where you can get Excalibur from. This is the spelling of many weapons of worth and non-worth to dispel the grandiose and I would say fantastical and glamorous ways of war. In The Lady of the Lake is a siren of sorts in a lot of Arthurian tales, but this novel seems to be based off of
culture.
It seemed, was there am I wrong on this, or was a novel of the same name by Frank Miller?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a situation
and
in which
he's named a executive producer on it. So
so he he did the story. So what we have is Excalibur a part of this?
The sword, yes, it's the main drive of her entire mission is to get the sword to Merlin.
For what reason then? To get the author?
For what?
To get the author?
No,
I
it's
can't say
just
it's Arthur.
well, and along the way she has developed so really because within this story also, Arthur's not the ruling king or anything. There's other backstory around it where basically the presumed king right now, his mother is not actually the queen. Or the queen, it was a like poor peasant woman who basically gave her child to the queen because the queen's son actually died because her husband, the king, died in battle. So it's like, and he's the keeper of everybody's secrets. He's very old, so it's getting it to basically, because with bringing the sword to Merlin is how basically reveals their relation more deeper with relationship with her mother as well. Like, because her mother is very a key role in the first episode, but due to circumstances that changes because.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting that we have a situation in which we have because Arthur is always a child in most of the Arthurian tales, in which this is a Welsh tale, in which the swamplands and the mogs and the bogs and all that are very prevalent, and they rise from, in essence, of poverty or land that's not all that great to overcome. I did a video on Owen Glendower and so forth. It's very inspirational. But so what we have is a hidden chosen one, right?
Yes.
That Merlin, though, but Merlin's always the catalyst. Is always the man that's making all the moves and doing so forth. But it sounds like this is taking definitely a different approach to it. So would you say this is like kind of like a, I guess, is this a prequel to what, just in a simpleton sense for me, for my sake, is this a prequel to what we know is Camelot and all this?
Yes, it's very much like I would say kind of like an origins story, pretty much, is where you're establishing who will eventually become key players involved. Like, you get Arthur when he's very young. You get like Nimue when she's also very young. They're like 17, 18 years old, so they're at the cusp. Well, Merlin and others are like the adult characters. Like Mendelin says, it's like the time before the king story. So it'll, if it gets to pick up for another season, which I'm still trying to figure out if that is the case, they'll more than likely progress the story forward. But it's the source material, and the main story is more Nimue's story, and everybody else is supporting characters. So the Lady of the Lake is your main central, and everybody else is seemingly right now as a supporting character, even though they are top tier characters, like an A cast, pretty much.
But at the same time, this is like, a Son of Ice and Fire if you just miss Bloodraven and his origin and so forth, and the people that, provide us with Green Sight and all these, this is what makes the lore so rich. This is what makes the story good. If you're already invested in an Arthurian tale, that has to deal with Camelot and the rise of the pretty much objectified and the looked over. I think this sounds interesting, and it's a different take, and it takes a lot of confidence, and takes a lot of guts to go out there and try to do it. Obviously, I think they tried to subvert a lot of tropes here. Would you say, if you had to give it an A, B, or C, C being the worst, what would you give it overall for the season?
I try to from the
I'm feeling a B minus. I'm feeling a B minus from you.
like it for a first season. I prefer it over another property that Netflix has done.
The Witcher?
Yes. Not because of like the certain actors or whatever, and it just, when you start out the season, it explains it to you in plain English what actually is happening and why Nimue is important compared to like a show like The Witcher, even though we're not supposed to compare it or whatever today, where you're basically thrown in the deep end and you have to try and figure out why he's
yeah,
so
you're
important.
always running to catch up. So this is in Arthurian legend. This is something that has inspired Tolkien. This is something that inspired George and writers for generations to come. And also, this has inspired real life events. many of the tutors considered themselves to be an Arthurian legend of sorts, and they tried to always recreate the circle, the round table of that's where it comes. There's no head of the table. There's a circle, meaning that thus who holds Excalibur, which I pulled from a rock. It was fairly easy. I just did my tries for a few weeks. But no, everybody has equal power, and it's always twisted here or there. But this is a series that a lot of people, you being one of my closest friends and somebody that I really appreciate, and I know you just went through a series of film theory classes, and you've shared your lectures with me. I'm really excited about it because I have no opinion on it, but I'm going to give it a watch, and I'm a type of fella that watched Rain. I didn't particularly enjoy it, but it's kind of like, that was like my methadone in the morning. I don't know, like I got an addiction and it can only be solved by
like
but more,
how I would kind of explain this show for you is kind of like if you took The Witcher and put it on your favorite channel, CW, pretty much. It's like how it's become a younger person's Witcher, basically, where it's like the story, where it's like you kind of have to, again, this is all prefaced in on age. It's like it's for the younger audience. Again, it's like the under 18, but like going into shows like we all cover, but it's good. Like it's better than I expected. That's how I would say it.
And in this COVID lull, we're all looking for series to watch. We're all looking for things to re-experience. So if I've not experienced something, then I'm going to go for it. So I think you've sold me on Cursed. I'm going to give it a try. I hope it does get a second season because it has a litany of fantastic actors and actresses that are attached to it. And I think that you can't go wrong with Arthurian tales. So and a lot of people know about when you hear King Arthur, but how familiar they are with The Lady in the Lake, even myself, like I've read the Tolkien's essays on the importance of the Fae and the depiction of the Fae and Beowulf and all that, like these Norse sagas. Like if you guys like contemporary historical dramas or period pieces or anything like that, Game of Thrones, Tudors, blah blah blah, etc etc, Arthurian tales are a main inspiration on these writers. And you can always find it's just like Shakespeare. You can dig through Shakespeare, and eventually you'll find one line in Shakespeare that will apply to everything in your life, right?
Yeah, because it's one of those where you are like, because there is that lull right now with the types of shows that we all enjoy, and this kind of, while it's not up to like the level of it's still good. Plus, at the same, like you get to see where Gustav Skarsgård has been since he's not been on Vikings, which will be coming back soon, hopefully in November.
Those Irish monks will find him. Yeah, and I look forward to that because I want to do what I'm calling a Road to Valhalla live stream, and I want to have you on it with me. I hope you'll join me because you have become the seer. Yeah, no, magical realism. Look it up, people, and it's fantastical in all the fantastical ways, but it's grounded in all the grounded ways. And Mackenzie has always been right when it comes to predictions. I'm setting you up for failure now. You're bad in 100, baby. You're bad in 100 for it. So, like, I'm into it. I like it. I like a new spin on it. I'm a glutton. I can't take it. Pass on that historical fiction of those period pieces. I bought a sword from Amazon, so I'm about as cuck as you get. So yeah, I can't wait. I like any of these new experiences. It's important that we don't hold everything to being the next Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones had a large impact on a lot of us, within the fandom, and this series is something different, and that's something different in a beautiful way. So I really appreciate you always shining light on fantastic series like Harlots and things like that, and not just going through, posting for views. You express real enthusiasm, and you especially on your streams. Express it and depict and convey your intelligence and your knowledge. And I couldn't be prouder to have you as a friend. I already be on here for you to pitch me for it, and I'm gonna watch it for whoever cares. Probably nobody, but I'll watch it. And
You'll
I'll
be
get my
another
thoughts on
person
it.
to bring light to this. And there's also Vikings in it, so they're not as rough and tumble as history's depiction of Vikings, but they're pretty good. So I think you'll like it a lot. The leader of the clan is called Cumber, the Ice King. So there you go.
Ice Queen. But then we also have Henry. I just watched Henry Cavill build a gaming PC, and I found it to be just fantastic. Just
That
fantastic.
I feel like Henry Cavill was the reason why the first season of The Witcher cost so much because it was like $90 million.
He actually only got no. I'm still looking into. I think there's embezzlement happening there because there's some issues with that CGI. I think he got 300K for that series altogether. So there's still some money that needs to be found. But yeah, I
Anyway,
can't.
it was more
I know
than
what
this the first season of Game of Thrones, so and it looked bad. So
yeah, it looked like Xenox Prince of Warrior. But no, but it's always fun to talk with these things over, at least give them a shot and not overanalyze them to death because we can find faults in everything.
yeah,
Like I said, what is it? I said a Shakespeare line can be tied to any of our lives. Fault in our stars. There you go. There you go.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
no, I'm looking forward to having you on for Vikings. I hope you'll have me on again. And thank you guys for showing up. And I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it, guys, for whoever out there cares. It sounds like it's, yeah, I mean, if Mackenzie likes it, Mackenzie's always worth my time because I need Mackenzie to fill me in on certain aspects of things. I'm always calling her for advice. So, like, me not having this side of me able to be applicable to her, meaning like I can't have discourse with her on curses, kind of like it's kind of sucked, to be honest with you. Like I kind of want I want to have discourse, I want to, and if I think it sucked, I'd tell her. I'd be like, oh, it sucks, but I don't know if it sucks or is good not yet. We'll get at that this week.
Yeah, plus there's also some lesbianic nuns. I forgot to mention that, if that also piques your interest.
No, that's not that's not me. I'm joking. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. No, yeah. But I feel weird saying, yes, that's what piques my interest. Those nuns, yes.
But
not me.
Yes, I know. Before we wrap this up, what do you have going on with your channel? I know you're doing the storyteller series on your channel.
It ends this week, which I am very proud of it. I'm very proud of what we done with the Storyteller series. I'm hoping that it's going to gain attention through a podcast, or at least help people. It has given me a wealth of knowledge that I never thought I needed, as every cocky motherfucker thinks they don't need anymore, right? The guy that thinks he knows everything doesn't know anything at all, right? About the cadence of storytelling, the rhythm, the way in which we use the camera, from the way in which we use our pen with our prose. And we have Stephen Keltowitz, the man that wrote the book on Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad and The Simpsons. He was on Good Morning America. I'm happy to have him as a friend. He is somebody that literally is in touch with Peter Gold and the writers of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and The Simpsons and so forth. A lawyer from New York, also helping out with that new podcast I go on with that trademark. But yeah, a fantastic gentleman, and he'll be on for our final episode. How Peter Gold does story, pretty much how they tell a story, and we'll go from there. I will be with Gray Area on this coming Sunday at 2:00. We'll be discussing Dragon Magic in a series of streams we'll do every Sunday, and I know that we were just talking about that, me, you, and Johnny. Be crazy. House of the Conqueror, for you guys that don't know, my go-to people for my consultants and stuff like that. So yeah, we're looking to put a new spin on content for everybody, to put a new little bit of polish, little bit of spit in whatever you call it, hard work, that salt of the earth, that Michael Bay type of stuff, that salt of the earth type of fella.
Well, you gotta figure out, we gotta, like Gray Area says, the long night juice. And this is the long night juice, which is going back to the stuff that we know, that we think that we know, but revisiting it before House of the Dragon pops up is quite important. So.
It's just amazing that you don't realize how enjoyable what you have enjoyed can be still, to re-enjoy, like to re-immerse. I sometimes listen to simple channels like Greatest Compliment, I'll shut up, but I mean, like, this lore channel just literally reads off Wikipedia. I don't know, I think it's just called the Son of Ice and Fire lore, but it's fantastic. Like, I mean, like, I don't think I could do it because I always gotta, like, put some philosophical spin on everything, and that's probably why I am what I am. It is what it is. That makes me happy, at least. But yeah, like, there's this comfort in something that especially when you can shine new light on it. And I couldn't be happier to be working with the group of people I'm working with. I couldn't be happier to be on your channel. Couldn't be happier in general in this COVID lull. People, watch this channel and help it get back up in the SEO, search engine optimization, because I have to literally type in her zip code and her social security and her tax ID number to get us. And we all know that Canada's only got 4 people. So, it ain't hard to find. But yeah, it shouldn't be that hard. Thank you, Mackenzie.
People. Yes, as of next week, sometime we will be talking about season 1 of The Boys, which is on Amazon. It's an Amazon original. Go catch up. It's only 8 or 9 episodes. I can't remember the exact total right now, but it's around there. In preparation for season 2, The Boys is like if basically all superheroes lived in our world and how that would work. It's got from last year. It was one of a pretty well-known show, and it's now been greenlit for season 3. So they're going to season 3 before season 2 has come out yet. So if you tell anything about that, it'll be a good one. So we'll be talking about that, and then after that, we're going to Vikings, starting all over. So get your Vikings rewatches, because we're going to talk about that as well. But absolutely. Thank you, Justin, for coming on today. I hope that we can come back and you give your opinion on Curse. I'll catch it. If not, we can put it out as a video or something. But you're gonna get an earful no matter what. Exactly. So yeah, whether or not it's worthy of the air, we'll decide. But yeah, we'll figure it out. Either I'll love it or hate it, but that's part of the fun, and it's something to look forward to. So thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who joined us today. I know it was not the normal stream, but we got Justin out of it. So there we go, and we'll see you all next week. Bye. And we're off. We're good.